So today, our scripture lesson, Paul says something that I find really beautiful. He says, Apollos planted the seeds, I watered them, and God brings the fruit. God brings the fruit. So we're talking about love as planting seeds, whether we see the result or not. So I'd like to share, does anybody know the Adventures of Frog and Toad? A children's book of children's characters. They've been around for a long time, and so this is a little excerpt from A Frog and Toad called The Garden. And Frog and Toad are these dear friends that see each other every day, and they have these really lovely little conversations, and here's one of them. So Toad comes to Frog's house, and Frog is working in his garden that he's been is beginning to grow after he has been working on it for a long time. And he says, "What a fine garden, Frog." Frog says, "Yes, but it was hard work." Toad says, "I wish I had a garden." So Frog hands him some seeds and says, "Soon you will have a garden." Well, how soon? Quite soon. So Toad goes home and hoes some garden rows and plants the seeds and says, "Now seeds, start growing." Now seeds, start growing. Then he begins to yell, "Seeds, start growing." And Frog comes around and says, "What is all this noise?" And Toad says, "My seeds won't grow." And Frog says, "You're shouting. They're probably afraid." He says, "Leave them alone. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them. They'll begin to grow." So Toad goes in and later that night comes out again and looks out on his garden and says, "Drat, my seeds aren't growing. They must be afraid of the dark. I'll read them a story." And then, like a loving parent, at bedtime, he goes out and begins to sing songs. He plays the violin. He puts out some candles and sits and reads his seeds a story, all the things to ease fears. He makes up a little song. "My little seeds, I love you so. You must be afraid of me. Why don't you grow?" Then finally, all of his efforts are in vain. And he says, "What shall I do? These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world." Then after extending all that effort, late in the evening, he of course falls asleep. And with the sun comes along his friend, Frog. Frog says, "Toad, wake up. Look at your garden." And Toad says, "Oh, at last my seeds have stopped being afraid to grow." And Frog says, "So now you will have a nice garden too." And Toad says, "Yes, but you were right, Frog. It was hard work." We plant the seeds. We water. We don't always see the results the way that we feel that they should be, or in the timing that we feel they should come. But like Paul says, Apollos planted the seeds, I watered them, and God brings the fruit.